What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another 10 games you should buy now before they are super rare. I want to say thank you to all of the support on this series on the channel. A lot of you guys have been subscribing, have been liking, have been giving your suggestions, and I do appreciate that. And as much as I want to get everybody's suggestions into my videos, it's been overwhelming with the amount of games that you guys have listed. And unfortunately, I can't do every single game considering that there's only 10 games here and we have hundreds of suggestions. But I do have a new feature that was just enabled on the channel that can help out a little bit if you really want me to talk about your game. It's called Super Thanks. And what you can do is essentially you can drop a donation amount or a tip amount by going on the bar with the like and dislike. You'll see thanks on there. And if you put the game that you want me to talk about and leave whatever amount, I'll make sure to get it in an upcoming video. So the first game that we're actually going to discuss here is from a super thanks from J2 Blue, but please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell if you are enjoying these type of videos. So let's go ahead and get into J2 Blue's suggestion here, and that is Record of Lotus War. So this is a very interesting game. It's on PlayAsia right now for $41.99 plus shipping. And I actually purchased the game digitally, but I also just went out and purchased the game physically as well. This is based off of a pretty old school but popular anime that's out there. And it's a 2D action exploration Metroidvania style of game developed under the close supervision of the original creator Ryo Mizuno, depicting previously unknown story of Deedlit and the events leading up to the Record of Lotus War, Diem of the Covenant, and I might have butchered some of those names, so I'm sorry about that, but I really like it. It reminds me of exactly Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is Symphony of the Night, but with this IP, and I like it a lot. I like the different powers you can get. I like the boss fights. I like the movement options. I like the little gimmick that they have with changing back and forth. It's a lot of fun. I streamed the game and I feel that it's a really good game that people should go out there and pick up, and it's definitely going to be something that you will see rare in the future. So $41.99 if you're looking for a Castlevania on the Nintendo Switch, or you're looking for a next Symphony of the Night style of game. Record of Lotus War, Deer Lit in Wonder Labyrinth. That's the full name. I didn't say it at first, but that's the actual full name. That is a great pickup. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next game here, and it's something that I'm not sure if I already covered before. I might have, but I'm going to cover it again because this is getting into a point where it might be a code red here or whatever. It could be getting pretty rare in the future, and that is Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. So this is $54.90 on Amazon, and loose copies are about $45. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because as we drift closer to the next Dragon Quest game, and these original copies that Square Enix have already put out kind of gets filtered down, they're not going to replenish them with physical copies. So even if I've talked about this before, I do want to make sure that I talk about it again with Dragon Quest, because this is probably the best version of the game, because you can play it portably. You get all of the extra content that the Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition gets you, which these versions are also on Xbox and PlayStation, but you get all of that and also portably, and it's a turn-based RPG. So it just works really well on the Nintendo Switch, and the prices aren't too bad on Amazon. And remember guys, this is all the US versions of the games, and the US versions tend to be more rare than the European or Japanese or other versions at times. So also keep that in mind. So $54.90 for this game, $45 on eBay for loose copies. It might be a good thing to pick it up, and this might be the best RPG on the Nintendo Switch. It's definitely up there as one of the best RPGs. It has superb gameplay, it has fantastic features, it has a ton of content. It uses Unreal Engine 4. It was made for the ground up for the Nintendo Switch. It was not a port of the PlayStation version of the game, so it runs good, it looks good, it plays good, and it's a fantastic game. I can't state how much I love Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, so it's definitely something that you should look into before. That game is rare, and Square Enix says if you want it, buy it digital. Now, next up is Lost Sphere on the Nintendo Switch. I actually just purchased a copy of this game myself. I missed it back when it first came out, and this game is a number of years old at this point, and what I'm seeing is definitely something that could be worth a lot more in the future, despite the game not being that great of a game. Now, this is the Tokyo RPG Factory, which essentially at this point has failed Square Enix somewhat, based on what Square Enix has stated. They've made 3 different games, and all 3 games have failed to really catch on Metacritic-wise or even sales-wise. And from what I understand too, it seems like each game that they've released since the beginning of this back in like 2017 or whatever with I Am Setsuna, each game is sold less and less all the way to Oninaki at this point. But Lost Sphere is $55 brand new and about $40 plus or so on eBay with the loose copy. And what makes this game unique is that it's trying to be like the old school RPGs. It's trying to be like the Super Nintendo era, but giving it a little bit of a modern twist with some of the graphics and everything. And it somewhat accomplishes what it sets out to do, but it's just not as good as the 16-bit RPGs. It's just not as good as the HD 2D games from Team Asano, the Bravely Default, which isn't HD 2D, but Team Asano game, Bravely Default 2, also Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy. It's just not as good as those games. Tokyo RPG Factory wasn't able to channel what made those old school RPGs great, whereas Team Asano, with these games that they're coming out with, have been able to. So Tokyo RPG Factory has pretty much been put on the back burner since Oninaki, but we'll see if anything else happens. But Lost Sphere is probably going to be a rare game alongside probably I Am Setsuna and also Oninaki. I'm not 100% sure if they did a physical version of that, but if you want to pick up a copy of Lost Sphere, $55, like I said, new on eBay, $40 plus or so used, so it might be worth something down the line in the future. Moving on to the next game here, it's Crystar, and this is an NIS America game, so you already know with Nippon Ichi Software, these games tend to go rare, and they tend to go rare pretty fast. It's $49.99 on Amazon. You can get it shipped straight to you, new. And what makes Crystar interesting is because it's set in this pretty grim world with all these lost souls dwelling and doing all this different stuff. And essentially what you've got to do is you've got to tear into your power to stop them. Now you can swap between a cast of unique playable characters and use their strengths to challenge demonic hordes and specters and revenants as you try to save what's going down with your family. You build up this tier gauge. It's interesting. It's Crystar for a reason here, guys. So you build up this tier gauge in battle and then you use it to summon mighty guardians to stand alongside of you. So very interesting. And this is the definitive experience on the Nintendo Switch, first time ever. It has all the previously released content, so the downloadable content from the PlayStation 4. It's on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not so sure about the performance and everything with like the frame rates and stuff. It looked a little bit sketchy at times, but once again, it's probably going to be a rare game because it's still $50 and I don't think it's going to be going down anytime soon. Now, next game up is Balan Wonderworld. Yes, Balan Wonderworld, over 80 different costumes, using your powers, everything like that. I mean, I'm going to go over some of the awesomeness of Balan Wonderworld. It's $20 on Amazon right now. Loose copies can go for a little bit less than that, but Balan Wonderworld is a game that you should consider, okay? You can explore 12 dreamlike stages, 12 different stages born from memories and feelings from the real world are waiting to be discovered. You have 2-player local co-op as well. 2 controllers are required to play in 2-player mode, sharing a pair of 1 Joy-Cons on the Nintendo Switch. So you've got all the features there that you would know and love. And yes, this game was critically panned, but I don't think Square Enix made a lot of this game, and I think that the PlayStation and Xbox versions, those will just be, you know, whatever. Those probably won't be rare at some point just because they probably produced a lot for the different systems, because there's PS4, PS5 disc, Xbox One, Xbox Series, whatever the case is, right? Or how the Xbox does the smart delivery stuff. So there's a lot of different versions of this game, but I feel that the Switch version on cartridge was probably the most expensive version to make because of the cartridge, and on top of that, it's just such a bad game. I think that people in the future are going to meme it, especially after the situation that went down with the original producer of the game and the lawsuit and everything. So I think that you could snag it for a good price right now and keep it sealed and see what happens in a number of years, because I'm pretty sure Square Enix cut off production of the cartridges as fast as possible and ordered as low as possible for this game. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 6 game here, and that's going to be Monarch. And Monarch right now, it's $52.77. Now, this was an interesting RPG because it came from ex-Shin Megami Tensei developers, and it didn't necessarily review quite as well as people thought. It didn't have that, I would say, impact that people thought that it could have, but it's still a solid game, and the price isn't really going down on the Nintendo Switch. You can get it for a bit cheaper on PlayStation systems, but right now on the Switch, it's holding steady at that $50 plus. So essentially, descending into madness. Jump between exploring the mist of the real world and fighting within a enigmatic other world. You have a lot of mysterious worlds to explore that are brought to life in surreal, dark neo-fantasy style with turn-based combat and intricate character design. So very interesting. So what makes this game also a bit unique too is that you can strengthen your ego and customize the appearance and abilities of your fiends that fight with you in battle. So you can unlock these different fiends to command in battle and use in the freeform tactical system to position your units and unleash destruction upon your enemies. Now this is the deluxe version of the game, and it comes with the Monarch game, softcover art book, digital music sample. Monarch didn't necessarily shoot off the best results when it comes to reviews, but I do feel that it's a game that they probably didn't print a lot of copies, and there's going to be some rareness with it. Now, moving on to the next game here, the Caligula Effect 2. So the Caligula Effect, just in general, those games are always or get to the point to where they're kind of rare, but we're talking about the second game here. It's already $75 on eBay for a new copy, $65 for a used copy. And what makes this game interesting is that it's a RPG, turn-based RPG, traditional, but it has a really huge music twist to it. So they talk about the game having masterfully crafted scenarios from the Persona writer Tadashi Satomi and the director Takuya Yamanaka. And you can unite with pulse-pounding Vocaloid-inspired soundtrack, making the world of Redo a memorable visual and audio experience. So if you're an audiophile and you want the best experience in RPG and also music games, then the Caligula Effect 2 should be a game that maybe you check out before this price shoots up over $100. Now, coming in, number 8 game on the list here, and something that some of you guys might be a little bit confused about, Paper Mario, the Origami King. It's $47.80 on Amazon. And why have I picked this game? Well, I've picked this game because I went back and looked at the history of Paper Mario games, and they all end up being somewhat rare. Now, Paper Mario's a bit tricky because I see a trend with Paper Mario, especially with the older games, for example, on disc, like Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, and also Paper Mario on the N64, Paper Mario Color Splash. These games are slightly going up or sometimes above MSRP compared to what they were back in the day, or right below it, or even like with Color Splash, $65 sealed. So right now at this point, with Paper Mario the Origami King being a game that probably isn't getting a ton more shipments out there, it might be a good thing to snag it right now and see if the price does go up, just like Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door did quite a bit on the GameCube, especially if you have a new sealed copy of that game. It goes for pretty good. So Paper Mario should be one of those games that you look out for. You can get Paper Mario for $39.99 Black Friday, or if it's like $30 coming up, or if you want to pick it up, if you just want to play the game, it's $47.80 under. I think now might be a good time to pick that game up, as it's already sold pretty much what it's going to sell. And anything that it gets, Nintendo's going to rely upon the digital sales of it and whatever else they've already printed out there. I don't think that they're going to continuously print Paper Mario the Origami King based off of all the different and new games that are coming up. The Mario plus Rabbids game is coming up, and that's probably going to get people's attention away from Paper Mario when it comes to it. So I do think that now might be the best time. Now, coming in at number 9 is a game that I don't think I've talked about, but if I have, we're talking about it again because I see the price kind of staying about the same. So that puts off my alertness, and that's Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, or is it Horizon, on the Nintendo Switch. It's $29.51. And what makes this version of the game unique because it comes on one cartridge and it has all the extra content over all of the years that Dragon's Dogma started, which originally was on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. They added content and they made like a definitive version for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which was like DLC as well. So this game just has a long history of getting content and adding in expansions, and they put all of that on the Nintendo Switch, all updated anywhere that you want, and no extra download. And that's the key here, no extra download. You can put it in there and play, probably have a small update, but you don't need that. Just get in and start playing. And once again, a ton of content in here, plus the expansion of the Dark Horizon as well. So it's praised for how good this game is. I played the heck out of it back when it came out on the PS3 and 360, and then I played it again on the Nintendo Switch, and I really enjoyed it. So I think now's a good time to pick it up at that price, because I don't think Capcom is even going to make any more. And for the final game, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection on PlayAsia for $41.99. And the reason why I bring up Ninja Gaiden is because this has 3 of the games from the Ninja Gaiden series all in one collection on the Nintendo Switch, on the cartridge, with no additional download. And that's once again the key factor here, and it's only on PlayAsia. You can't get this out there, but it's only $42 at this point. So I do think that this is definitely going to be a rare game with these 3 games on here. Now remember, you get all of the previously downloadable content that's included on there as well. The modes, everything is there, all the different characters. And these games are really good too. Like, Ninja Gaiden has always been awesome. I've been playing Ninja Gaiden since back in the day on the 80s on the NES, and I've played all the games all the way throughout when it came back on the Xbox and everything. So to see Ninja Gaiden, obviously it's not where it used to be, but to have this collection is actually really cool. And to get 3 games on that one cartridge with all of the extra content and no additional download is something that maybe you should look into, especially for $42 plus shipping on PlayAsia. But those are my 10 games that I've listed here. Now, what games do you want me to take a look at in the future? Feel free to drop a comment below, or also drop a super thanks if you want me to get right to it for the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.